So right now, Venus and Jupiter are going to be forming an exact conjunction in the sign of Cancer, right? This is at 14 degrees. This is not just like a fleeting good vibes moment for us. It's actually the beginning phase of a new evolutionary cycle, okay? And it has to do with our set of values, our personal truth, and the self-worth that we attach to both of these, okay? So for some of us, we might actually feel the strong impulse for a creative expression. Some of you might notice a desire to want to step into a stronger or more empowered version or a new direction regarding your career. Some of you might notice the desire to want to nurture certain types of relationships stronger in your life. Either way, this energy is coming into our lives to offer an opportunity for personal growth in a completely new direction. What makes this moment so important as well is that it's a seed moment, okay? And if we understand how the archetypes work and the phases work and the aspects work, we can consciously work with nurturing this seed experience for us into our lives so that it becomes more prominent, right? We actually feel the possibility and the potential of what we are opening up for on an emotional level. So that's going to be the point of this video. What I want to do is I want to break down this conjunction, and I want to teach it to you in a way that I do in the actual Evolutionary Astrology Immersion. So we're going to take a look at the first principles, we're going to understand the archetype, and then I'm going to show you how this actually becomes deeply personal for us as well. So let's get into it. So the first place that we're going to begin is by taking a look at understanding the core energies, okay? What are the core energies that we are working with here in this conjunction? So we know that we're working with Venus, we're working with Jupiter, and we're working with the sign of Cancer, okay? So some ways to think about the sign of Venus is like this. Venus has to do with our core sense of values, right? It has to do with our self-worth. And it's how we actually also attract people and situations into our lives is what we say yes to, right? Or what we say no to, and how we connect with them. The Jupiter archetype has to do with our set of belief systems, okay? It's our human need for search for meaning. Jupiter very much speaks to our desire to want to explore beyond what is immediate for us. When we take a look at the sign of Cancer, right, this is the archetype that has to do with emotional security and our sense of belonging, and how we actually nurture not only our sense of belonging, but also that ability to know what it is to be emotionally secure for us. The Cancer archetype also has to do with our memory. Because if you think about it, right, when we're experiencing things and we're going through experiences, we're emotionally digesting them. And then when we retell the story to, say, somebody maybe into the future or from a past experience, we connect to the emotional sensation and memory that we gained. That's why sometimes it can be difficult to be able to know what the facts were versus how we emotionally experienced it, because they're so different. So what we're looking at here is the Venus archetype of our attraction, the Jupiter archetype about our expansion of our truth and how we order the world, and our Cancer archetype that has to do with emotional nurturing. Okay, so now we have these three core energies down. Let's take the next step and to look at the aspect and phase that is part of this conjunction. So in evolutionary astrology, the conjunction means that the archetypes are merging together. Jupiter and Venus are merging together, okay? So these two archetypes are vision and our expansion and our desire to open up our world vision and the way that we attract and value things and self-worth, they're coming into an alignment, right? So they become one cycle, hence the seed opportunity. Now, in evolutionary astrology, there is an extra additional layer of interpretation that's called phases, which, by the way, I love because it makes it so personal and individuated. Okay. Now, when we look at phases, we look at the speed that the planets are in relation to the sun. So with Venus, it actually moves faster around the sun than Jupiter. So when you understand the phases, Venus is actually moving away from not Saturn, but Jupiter faster. Okay. When you track the phase. right? When you track their movement, Venus will move faster away from Jupiter. So in EA, we will call this a new phase conjunction, right? Where Venus is now aligned with Jupiter and then they're starting a new cycle, right? So it's called a new phase. So in EA, the new phase, it's very instinctual, okay? It's about moving forward, it's about initiating, and it's an energy that's not about looking backwards, right? We're not looking there and trying to make sense of stuff. We're like looking forward, saying, what am I ready to embody? What am I ready to explore? I have this instinct in me, okay? So if you put all of this stuff together, what you get is this, right? We're at the beginning. We're at a fresh new chapter of our lives where our set of values, our belief systems, and the way that we emotionally connect, nurture, and protect, right? That sense of vision, that sense of truth, that belief system. And again, that self-worth, that value. It's how we are beginning to step into a new chapter of our lives regarding it. Yeah? Make sense? Pretty clear. Okay. So let's move along, right? So what we want to do now is we want to actually apply this to our personal natal chart. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to go and find where 14 degrees of Cancer sits in your chart. Now, for many of us, we're going to be using different house systems. It doesn't matter. Whatever house system you've been using, stick to that. But what I would recommend is making sure that you see where the Jupiter and Venus conjunction is. There'll be 14 degrees of Cancer, right? And that's where this new evolutionary cycle for you is going to be beginning. That's where the new chapter is about to begin for you. Now, on the screen at the moment, what I've done is I've put together the 12 signs and what are the potential and possible experiences that you can go through. So all you need to do is just take a screenshot of the image that's on the screen right now so that you can personally see where this is happening for you. Okay. All right. So now that you've taken that screenshot over there, you can go back after the video and check that out. And also, if you're feeling a little bit sort of extroverted, you're more than welcome to share in the comment section, like, where is your Jupiter landing? What house system? Sorry, not what house system, but what house is it landing in? Where is this happening for you? For me personally, it's landing in my 6th house of the astrology chart. Okay, so let's come into some more personal connection and understanding, right? So what we've done is put some questions together that can help us emotionally connect with how this experience is taking place for us. So ask yourself the question with this transit: what emotional values are waiting to grow right now? Okay, what emotional values are waiting to grow right now? Where is that seed of new opportunity occurring? Where is the call to enrich your relationships, your creativity, or your self-worth? Remember, this is going to be happening somewhere in your astrology chart, and that call to enrich that part of your life is here. Okay. And then the last one here is, are these impulses coming from your current truth or from an old set of definitions of safety that you are ready to outgrow? Right? What I mean by that is that the Cancer archetype likes to keep things safe and secure. But it also at the same time says, oh, if there's a new adventure, how do I know if I can deal with that? How do I know that I will be safe enough? So we're kind of this little interesting intersection between challenging certain belief systems that hold you back versus certain belief systems that you need to jump into and come into that allows you to catapult into a new direction. So that last prompt, where are the impulses coming from, right? Your current truth or from all definitions of safety that you have now outgrown and you need to leave behind. Okay. So let's move on to another slide that I think is going to help us even deepen our understanding of this aspect. And again, very much trying to bring us into the way that we experience astrology in a somatic and sensation way, right? Astrology for such a long period of time has been a very intellectual process. It's very much been like the stars are out there and I've got to go out there and figure out all those things. But my attempt here today to help us really connect with how these transits are reflecting energetic change that is occurring within us. Astrology's power lies in the ability to be able to recognize what's there, but to become embodied into what the sensations of change are occurring for us individually. That's how you use the system. Okay. All right. So living the energy consciously. How do we do this? Right. To really anchor this in, right. And to try and to really live this energy for us, and to be able to see this new phase conjunction happening in a way that is what I'm talking about here, right? This new chapter over the next few days. Try this out, right? As we know, this is a meeting of our values and our desires and our belief systems. So this is an invitation to connect to these planetary systems on a somatic level, okay? Right. So it's an invitation to expand what truly nourishes you, okay? Not just like in theory, but in your lived experience. So here are a few ways that you can do this. Notice what makes you feel safe and valued within your life. Over the next few days, prioritize really paying attention to what is making you feel safe and valued in your environment, in your creativity, in your work, in your career, in your relationships, wherever that might be for you, okay? And the question that you can ask yourself is, ask whether that safety reflects who you are now or who you used to be. Remember the intersection between our belief systems that we inherit versus the belief systems that we're challenged now to grow into, right? This is an opportunity for growing into something and initiating something new. So ask whether whether the safety reflects something that you have been, but is this, or should I say here, right, or who we used to be. Okay, so it's something to do with the past versus going forward. Okay, something else you could try is offering emotional generosity, right? Create some beauty, some kindness, care for someone or something, and notice how it enriches your own sense of purpose, right? Oftentimes we live our lives so busy that we actually forget to actually just stop for a moment and allow that Cancerian archetype of Jupiter Venus to flourish and say, hey, how can I create a moment over here that expands this person's sense of self-worth and value and improves their ability to have a vision of themselves in a more nurturing and beautiful way? So take a day, one of the days, whatever, and just make it a priority to say, today, I'm going to notice or be aware of an opportunity where I can encourage somebody to have and embody a vision of themselves that is emotionally nurturing and taking care. Okay. Another opportunity is to receive abundance in connection. Again, we as human beings, we very much are so focused on right? And criticalness and where we're failing at things that oftentimes we actually stop and forget about looking at the things that we actually do achieve within our day and where we do show up for things and we do offer stronger and more, where we succeed at things that we're working on. And so this can be done for you to allow something to come to you, or again, as I said, giving this to other person. But let others actually give that to you, right? Be emotionally open and available to track when you are actually receiving some appreciation from somebody. And what does that actually feel like to feel supported and valued in that way? Does it encourage you to believe in yourself stronger, right? Allow that to be something that could also be part of this Jupiter-Venus conjunction. The last thing it will add here is expand your comfort zone. Okay, very big one part of this. Expand, Jupiter, comfort zone, Cancer. Okay, so release one attachment, habit, or a safe place that keeps you small and open some space for something truer to emerge. Right? Within our lives right now, as I said, we want to step into letting the seed of this new phase conjunction grow within our consciousness. Allow this opportunity to challenge a safe space that you feel comfortable in, and to ask yourself, am I ready to grow into and challenge into a new experience that actually allows me to grow further and to nurture that, right? Let something truly emerge within your consciousness. This is the opportunity. And you can see how being able to consciously bring these archetypes within your life starts to change your entire vision of things. Because now you're not just thinking, what is this archetype about? You're actually consciously engaging in what energies are available right now. And that is where the beauty lies. Okay. So they're not just pleasantry experiences that we're here for, right? These are not just exercises just for fun, okay? They're here for us to embody these energies and to be able to come into a stronger connection between how the cosmos, through its potential evolutionary cycles, allow us to emotionally grow as part of the process. Pretty neat, isn't it? So this is how we make astrology real and alive. Right? For so long, we've been so disconnected from it that it's just become an intellectual headspace experience. And I don't want to do that anymore. So what I did today was show you exactly how I teach it in the Evolutionary Astrology Immersion. And the purpose is so that you can see how you can become consciously engaged in your own astrology and actually be empowered by it, rather than just feeling like everything's just happening to us, right? That's where the shift in our personal evolution is taking place. So if you notice that there was something that clicked for you, right? If you noticed that there was a way in which this made more sense and you could connect to the astrology and actually want to learn this for yourself, then that is what I'm offering in the Evolutionary Astrology Immersion, okay? So we've got enrollment is still open at the moment. There are a few spots available, and I'm going to leave a link down in the description for you to go and check it out and read up about it. But the most important thing that I want you to take away from this is an opportunity to be able to read your astrology charts and the transits for the rest of your life in a way that feels like you can engage with it and ask the questions from an intuitive place, that you have agency to see what you're actually changing and evolving and growing into, rather than just feeling the transits move through us and then having to deal with it and cope with it, rather than actually see what the potential is and grow into stronger and more empowered versions of ourselves. So this course is here to teach you a new way of astrology, revolutionize it, and bring you more into the actual experience itself. So if that's something that you want and you want to be a part of it, I would love to teach you how to see your charts and how to see astrology in a more engaging, creative, and colorful way. Okay. So I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Go check up about it. And if you feel called to want to join me, it would be an honor. And until the next video, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.